Hello, and welcome to today's mini Bible study as we continue this journey toward the 14th Sunday after the Pentecost, August the 29th, 2021. And just a reminder that on September the 2nd, we will begin what we're calling a hybrid Bible study. That just means we'll have some there in person and some who are watching on our live stream or later on the recorded video. You're welcome to join us for that. I will not be doing more individual Bible studies like I've been doing Monday through Thursday, but I will post the one on a live stream and cover all of the lessons for the upcoming Sunday like I have been doing, just all at one time on Thursday morning, live, and then later a recorded version. So just to let you know, this is the last week I will be doing individual lessons and Bible studies on my phone and uploading them to the website. And you can watch on YouTube, and or you can watch later on the recording. But thank you for joining me today. Today we will be looking at Psalm number 15. And let me read for you the psalm and then share some reflections that I've gathered for today. Lord, who may dwell in your tabernacle? Who may abide upon your holy hill? Those who lead a blameless life and do what is right, who speak the truth from their heart. They do not slander with the tongue. They do no evil to their friends. They do not cast discredit upon a neighbor. In their sight the wicked are rejected, but they honor those who fear the Lord. They have sworn upon their health and do not take back their word. They do not give their money in hope of gain, nor do they take bribes against the innocent. Those who do these things shall never be overthrown. Here ends the reading. Thanks be to God. Sunday's first reading from Deuteronomy makes it clear that obedience to the law leads to successful and sustained life occupying the promised land. And the result is that Israel will then be seen as an exemplary nation. They will attract the attention of the other nations, the whole world, because Israel is discerning wisdom, and because they have a God, Yahweh, who stays near, who is not far off. Today's reading connects to Sunday's first reading in that obedience to God's law opens a pathway to dwell or abide in God's holy temple. This psalm approaches the question of obedience from a holiness angle. Obedience renders a people blameless rather than wise and discerning. Can you be both? Certainly. The wise and discerning part comes from our first reading. The blameless part comes from the psalm today, and the two connect in some way along those lines. So verses 2 through 5a, or the first half of verse 5, answer the question by describing elements of a blameless life. Do what is right. Speak truth. Do not slander. Do not evil. Or do no evil, I should say. Do not discredit others. Reject wickedness. Honor the faithful. Do not give your money in hope of gaining more back. And do not take bribes. Today's reading has some connection to Sunday's gospel, where Jesus speaks about distinguishing between outward behaviors and inward attitudes of the heart, which in biblical language is where our will comes from, our decision making. Jesus says, "This people honors me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me." There is nothing outside a person that by going in can defile, but the things that come out are what defile. So the challenge for our 21st century USA will be in making judgments about how to refer to the key elements of this psalm toward our society. What does it mean to be able to abide on God's holy hill? And who in our society desires that life? To whom is the opportunity to dwell in God's holy house available? And how do we understand the relationship between a blameless life and a sustainable habitation inside God's holy house? These are not easy questions, especially as more and more people in our society move away from religious practices or toward prosperity theology. That means that God favors those who are wealthy and have material possessions. That's not accurate in our Lutheran theology, and it leads to a false practice of blaming those who suffer as their lack of faith in God. Today's reading takes for granted that dwelling in God's holy house would be desirable for everyone. Is that really a fair question in today's world? Or, like much of our secular society, does the church need to do a better job of marketing in order to attract those who are not so inclined naturally? It has been said that a person sees an average of 5,000 marketing advertisements every day. Once we include everything from TV commercials all the way to logos on t-shirts. Even those little license plate frames are marketing advertisements. Despite the fact that those are actually illegal in Florida, dealerships are willing to pay a person's ticket if needed because that cost for them is less than they would make from the sales produced by people driving around with that advertising for their dealership on their cars. The words tabernacle and holy hill used in today's first verse are less about a geographical place and more about a way of life. This connects also with Jesus' teachings about how we are to live in relationship with God and with neighbor, the two greatest commandments, where Jesus says, love God with everything in you and love your neighbor as yourself. It is no coincidence that the early Christians were actually called followers of the way, because they followed the way of Jesus, just as today's psalm is calling people to follow the way of God's instruction. This all leads to quality of life. And quality of life is characterized by nearness to God through worship and by a life lived faithfully in God's instruction. Thank you for joining me here today as we continue this journey toward the 14th Sunday after Pentecost, August the 29th, 2021. As always, if you have a thought or comment, a concern, or even a question, please post it in the comment section below this video, and I will be notified that there's a comment, and I try to respond to those as I can. I hope you're having a great day. Take care. God bless.